Hello everyone, welcome back to Circuit Crush. Today we're going to check out an open source agentic browser. Now this has escaped my notice until a couple days ago, but apparently this has been a project for a while. And what's really cool about this is that it's open source, meaning it is free. And that's important because there's a lot of new browsers out now from OpenAI and ones like Perplexity or something like that, or where and Opera Neon I just got an invitation to several weeks ago, and but they're all paid. They all cost a lot of money a month or upfront in order to have these AI powered browsers. So and of course, with anything paid or almost anything paid, there's almost always an open source alternative. And this is your open source alternative. So it's simply called BrowserOS, and here is their website. And let's scroll on down and see BrowserOS for work. Use the browser to browse, extract, research. Okay, here's some frequently asked questions. Okay, here's a big thing. To download BrowserOS, if you just click it, you have to fill out your email address for some reason. I'm not sure why, because as soon as you type in your email address, it'll come up with a download box that you could just download it. There's no download link that goes to your email. For some reason, they want your email address. So I'm not sure what would happen if you just put in some random email address. I'm assuming that it would work. But anyway, they just have a FAQ and very sparse on the website side. Okay, so let's go to what happens if you download it, install it, and run it. Here's what you get as soon as you open up the browser the first time. If you open up the browser again, this does not come back, which is unfortunate. This is awesome. So I recommend saving this so that way you can go back to it because it's really helpful. So it has a getting started guide, which this takes you to like their wiki like help guide, very helpful. And there's only 3 steps to get going. Import your data from Chrome if you want to, and then bring your own key, which you get from Google for Gemini or your Chat GPT key, and then you can put them in the browser so that way you can use those cloud providers. And then it just gives you some key features again. And then, but the best part is joining the community where you can go onto their Discord and their Twitter, and you can ask them questions if you run into any issues. They're pretty helpful there. They have a bug report section if you come across anything weird, all that cool stuff. So, all right, let's go over to the settings really quick. The normal browser settings. So this is Chromium. This is a Chromium browser. So like all the hundreds of other Chromium browsers, this should look very familiar. It's all basically the same sort of default settings. The big thing right here is the AI innovations. And if you look here, AI or search history powered by AI is defaulted to off. So if you wanted to search your history with the AI, you will have to come in here and turn it on because it's off by default, I guess, for security concerns or privacy or something like that. So anyway, that's it for the settings. Let's going to go ahead and so this quick start guide brings you over here. And it will land you right here on this onboarding guide. This tells you about the same amount of stuff that this did. Okay. But the cool part is coming down here to configuring the AI. Okay, so it gives you some information here. You can use models locally, or you can bring your own API key. You can do both, as I'm going to show you in just a minute. Okay, so why bring your own API keys or use local models? They tell you different like pros and cons, I guess. So the big thing, there's a rate limit if you're using the built-in BrowserOS AI. I think they use like a combination of ChatGPT and Google until you hit a rate limit, and then it stops working. Okay. And then going on down, it gives you step-by-step instructions on how to do everything. So bring your own key, start with Google. It's really simple. You go to their AI studio and you generate an API key. Or if you have a subscription, you can get the API key from there, and then you can use however much your subscription says you can use. Okay, and then do it for Claude, OpenAI, Open Router. And then here's the really cool stuff though, local LLMs. You can set it up through Ollama, or which is the command line, or you can set it up through LM Studio. I'm going to show off the LM Studio part because it's a GUI, simpler, easier to navigate, and it's not any better. Each option is, there's not really pros and cons between them. It's the same thing. So enough of me yapping. Let's make a new tab. And then over here in the top right, actually just a little bit more yapping. Let's go over here. Not there. Over here, the settings page. So here you can tell it to default provider, all these different ones here. It'll give you these quick provider templates. And this is really helpful because if you have a Google key or an OpenAI key, let's click that, right? So it'll automatically fill all this stuff in for you. And you put in your API key, and it'll give you context window size. Just leave everything as default. If you want to, you can change the temperature, whatever you want, and put in your API key and hit save. And then, bam, you're good. That will set you up. You can connect all the other ones too, like I did for Gemini. Click this, and it'll put in the model ID and the context window, put in your API key, hit save, and it'll appear right down here. And you'll see that BrowserOS comes with a default built-in model. And then here are the two that I added. So enough of me yapping. Let's see some stuff. You can click this agent tab here. It'll bring this here. BrowserOS, like how I told you before, is the built-in one. So let's go ahead and skip that. We're going to go to Gemini and show that off because it's really easy to set up, and it's from a cloud provider. They have a lot of horsepower, so it works fast. Let's do something. Take me to the technology subreddit. Let's see if it will do it. Okay, it's thinking, and it shows its thinking process over here, and it did it. It's pretty fast too. It's not as fast as typing it yourself, but it's really not much slower. Pretty neat, huh? Okay, let's go ahead and clear this. And we're going to switch to the LM Studio. And before we do that, let me show you LM Studio. So to set this up, download and install LM Studio, and you're going to have to enable developer mode. And there, on the settings here, it shows you all the step-by-step guides that you need to set up LM Studio. And then you go through here, click the search, and you can look through all these different AI models, all of which will be local. You download them all, and some of them can be quite big. This one is only 4.23 gigabytes, but some of these are large. Like here's this one, 15.21 gigabytes. And let's see, I'm sure there's more that are even bigger. There's Llama. Let's see how large Llama is. 37.14 gigs, and that's fully downloaded to your system. And some important stuff here is right here. It'll say partial GPU offload possible. That's very important. That means it can't fully load into your GPU VRAM. So if you do something smaller, like this one that I have, it says full GPU offload possible. So that means it's faster. If it's in your VRAM, that means it can access that full data set much, much quicker. Okay, so let's close this. And in developer mode, you have to start this server. It'll start the server, and then you load in the model that you want. And something important, depending on your GPU, I have an AMD 7900X XT, which is a 20 gigabyte model. So I put the context length up to 16,000, which seems to be the sweet spot for me. And then I loaded it into here. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing with LM Studio. Just going to copy this, tell it to do the same thing. And it tells you that it doesn't really like having such a low context window, but it's about all that my system can handle. So as you can see, like right off the bat, it's much slower. It still goes through the same thinking process. And it worked. And it worked with this one that I have, which is OpenAI / GPT TAC OSS TAC 20B. Okay, and another thing I want to show you is going over here to this LM Studio. Let's go ahead and click Edit. And this is stuff that you'll have to fill in. Okay, the provider name, LM Studio. Now, the base URL, the local host, will stay the same unless you changed it in LM Studio. Okay, and then the model ID, it tells you to copy paste basically exactly as it shows up here in LM Studio. So you can click this button right here. It'll copy the full thing, and you just, paste it into there, and you're good to go. And then make sure your context window size is the same as you put in right here. All right, so now that that's good to go, and it did the exact same thing, pretty neat. And you'll have different levels of success depending on which model you use. Like I've had great success with this one right here, but I have a bunch of other ones. I have this Magistral, the Dolphin, and I had a couple others before I deleted them, and some of them were iffy, some of them were really slow, some of them didn't work at all. So it's going to be a bit of trial and error if you want to use a local model and you want to use something other than OpenAI, or at least like this version right here. You're just going to have to play around with it. All right, like this is kind of a tinker's paradise right here. Tinker until you find a nice happy medium between performance, speed, and like context length size, all that good stuff. Okay, so it can do that. Awesome. Let me see. Let me see if it can download something. Download Discord. Given it very vague instructions to see if it can do it. I should have started this on the Gemini one because this one's very slow. Okay. Yeah, so here I don't have enough tokens allocated, so it can't do it through the LM Studio. Let's try Gemini. We're going to download Discord. Now, Gemini, of course, has the full might of the Google AI empire, if whatever you want to call it. So it has a lot more tokens and all that stuff that it can muster, and it doesn't have to rely on your computer. Oh, and look at that. And it downloaded it right up here. Wow, awesome. And then it tells you to check your browser's download folder for the installer. Okay. So what I'm gathering from this is that it's very important to set the download folder, because as you saw, it did not prompt me for a save location or a download location. Okay, so that's one thing to note. Well, awesome. It was able to do that. Let's do another test. Let's see, error. Okay, you guys already saw that I had typed that before. Oh, I got a CAPTCHA. One important thing to note is that BrowserOS cannot solve CAPTCHAs, which is something that is asked about a lot in their Discord. All right, so I already did this test before with a few models, and it's quite fun. So we're gonna start with this one. What is the best one? So I'm intentionally being vague, not mentioning air fryer, and see if it can figure it out. Okay, still thinking, still thinking. Okay, right here it tells me that the best air fryer from the search results shown is this Ninja 4-quart air fryer something, but it doesn't highlight it or anything, so I assume it's like this one or whatever. So not not too super helpful if you had a whole bunch of stuff on the screen or on the web page. But just using my eyeballs, I can see that it's probably talking about, or wait, it's probably talking about this one right here. Yeah, the Ninja 4-quart air fryer. Okay, cool. So that's what it said is the best. Now let's try Gemini. We're going to do the same prompt and see what Gemini can do. Okay, so already it's going through a different thinking process. Okay, and it took me to a r/cooking page. And as you see, it's glowing orange, so it's still doing stuff. Okay, it's doing a Google search now, which is what I was already on. Interesting. Almost every time that I've run this, because spoiler alert, I've done this earlier in the day when I was researching this browser. And every time I've done this, it's done something a little bit different each time. So it's going through all this thinking stuff, all this processing, trying to figure out what's going on. Yeah, it's just going through. It's giving you the objective that it's trying to solve. Okay. This is kind of funny. Um, yep. So I'm going to go ahead and stop it, which you can stop right here in the top with this little pause button. Click it, and then it'll error out. So yeah, so that didn't really work for Big Bad Gemini over here, but it worked for our little tiny LM Studio local model. Kind of interesting. So this is just to show that depending on your model, depending on what you ask it, it could be hit or miss, right? Like doing the Gemini for the search to download Discord or search, or I'm sorry, not search, but go to the technology subreddit. It did it really fast, right? But then asking it what it saw on the page, which one was the best air fryer, it couldn't really do it. And I didn't let it run for that long because I've already tried this like several times, and it'll basically infinitely keep thinking and keep searching random pages and stuff like that. So yeah, it's kind of like hit or miss, but still like really, really kind of cool, really interesting. I don't know why it did that, but all right, make it stop. Thank you. All right, and then another cool thing that I want to show you guys is back here in LM Studio, whenever you run anything with the local AI, you will see down here in the developer logs any kind of errors that you get, like how we got over there about not having enough tokens. It'll say it right here too. So this will help you in troubleshooting for those who like to tinker around. Really cool stuff. Yeah, really interesting. I think I'm going to play around with this some more and have some fun with it. Maybe make another like video if I find something cool. But that will be it for today. I hope you all found this interesting. And just let me know down in the comments if you're going to check it out. And if you have checked it out, which model have you used for a local model that has worked well for you? Or anything, or any local models, or even a big LLM that's done something super goofy, way out there, that's maybe it's opened a whole bunch of tabs or something like that. I just want to hear some interesting stories about this if you have any. And with that, I will see you all in the next one.